What do you get when you combine a 90,000 square foot building and 160 plus tractors and some trucks and some cars? Well, you get Keystone Tractor Works by Colonial Heights, Virginia. Certainly one of the more diverse tractor museums I've ever been in is here at Keystone. And today, Keith Jones, the founder of the museum, is going to give us a tour. Keith, my gosh, this is such a phenomenal collection of tractors. What were you thinking when you put it all together?
Prior to opening the museum, we kept our tractors in a storage barn up in Richmond. And we were open about once a year for a little get-together for some barbecue and to play with the tractors, enjoy them for a day. When we got over 100 tractors or so, that eventually we could find a place to put them and make it open to the public so everybody could enjoy them 365 days a year. So.
Well, I'm itching to take my own tour, especially with the founder here, and I'm looking at these lesser-known classics. Can we take a look at those?
Sure, be glad to.
Keith, here we are in the lesser-known collection part of the museum, and I've got to ask about this. This has got to be a lesser-known piece of machinery. Where did this come from?
Well, I realize it looks kind of out of place with all the tractors, but this is an orchard spread that belonged to my grandfather. You know, our museum curator actually rebuilt the motor and got it working. As best as we could tell, this was a paint scheme, even though it looks certain like a circus wagon. But we think this is the original colors.
The blue here certainly blends in with the wide riot of color that you have here. Describe some of the tractors that you have in the lesser-known classic row.
Well, we have 4 of the custom-built Chrysler-powered tractors, a Sears Economy that has a Model A motor in it. Of course, the Gibson behind me here.
And that's a rare Gibson, too.
Yes, indeed. We also have Hubers, 3 Silver Kings.
Well, Keith, I love the lesser knowns. I'd also like to take a look at some of the more mainline tractors, some of these Oliver's cases that you have in minis. Can we go take a stroll over there?
Sure.
Oh, I see the bright red Massey Ferguson in the back and the progression by history. And this is what I love about your museum. You stack the tractors in rows by make, but you start out with the earliest version that you have, in this case, the Massey Harris GP. And then we see the Challenger, the Massey Harris, the Fergusons are mixed in the Massey Ferguson. Had you done that intentionally?
Yes, we tried to get the older tractors out at the end of the row so people could understand the progression of how the tractors got to where they were in the 60s.
And another thing about the presentation in the museum, you got great signage. I mean, old posters from the tractors, your neon signs, we've got a Massey Harris sign. You've collected these as you've gone along?
Pretty much. Since we opened the museum, we've tried to add some neon to brighten it up a little bit.
I'd love to see the Waterloo Boy. Can we go over there and gawk at that?
Sure.
Wow, here I am in the sea of green, and what I love about this collection is not only the way that you've organized it by brand, but also you have such rarities in this museum here. First of all, how did you select the tractors that you were going to display, Keith?
Well, we do have all 28 of the 2-cylinder John Deeres. We have 18 or 20 LP John Deeres in our collection. The ones with the lower production number, such as the 620 standard LP, one of 37.
But also you have these great symbolic tractors like the Waterloo Boy that's here. But it's not all tractors, is it? I noticed off here to the side, you've got a few trucks, don't you?
Well, we're in the trucking business, and we're kind of partial to the old 18-wheelers of yesteryear. Yeah.
Hey, can we take a look at those?
You bet.
Wow, look at this, an International Harvester high binder. You've got some great trucks in your collection here. Keith, describe what you have.
Well, we have a sort of a variety of manufacturers. We have a 1920 white up in the other room, up through the newest things, the 86 conventional Peterbilt over here. Road tractors, fire trucks, and some day cab trucks, smaller gasoline tankers, pickup trucks, even a 55 Chevy delivery truck. So we got somewhat of a variety, and I guess you saw the Hill Brothers Diamond T delivery truck.
So people are attracted to the museum with the tractors, and they go through the tractor collection and think they're about done, and then they discover what's amazing in the trucks. That's got to give them a little bit of pleasure, isn't it?
Sure, I think so. Most of the people that come in here are a lot of truck drivers that have roots back to the farm and farm tractors and so forth. So they're pretty pleasantly surprised when they come over and see that we do have the tools they'll learn to make a living with or whatever.
Well, I'd like to go back to the roots and where it all got started. When you go see this family deer inn that you have.
You bet. Yeah, sure.
So we're ending our tour really where it all began for you, Keith, with this 1950 John Deere M. This was your uncle's tractor.
Well, this tractor belonged to my aunt, actually my uncle, and after he passed away, they'd been sitting out by her house for several years. When I go to visit, I'd ask about the tractor, and she just brushed me off as everybody asks about that tractor, you know. So she called me and said she's going to have an auction and sell the M. I acquired it at the sale.
Was this the thing that gave you ironitis, that bug that bites you and says, boy, I think I'll have another tractor and another tractor?
I kind of fell in love with it and got more interested, picked up some tractors at different auctions and yard sales and this, that, and the other. So.
Thanks, Keith. Well, for more information about Keystone Tractor Works, how to get here, and Keith's phenomenal selection, you can go to KeystoneTractorWorks.com.